having a 60-person sales and recruiting team, be prepared to be both, will be all three, be a leader, be a manager, be a trainer, and be a therapist, actually. Four things you have to be prepared to do. When you're running any sort of organization of what I would call high performance extroverts, so a sales organization, a recruiting organization, there is a lot of passion, emotion, competition, and all of these things can and should be harnessed in a way that creates positive momentum, because nothing is more powerful than getting your team to compete and to want to win and to strive to win and to love the win and to feel the win and to celebrate the win and then immediately get back to work to get the next win. And so when you're running a team of that size, I would always tell, my managers as they were coming up through the ranks, when you first start off managing, get really good at training, right? Get really good at just teaching people how to do what you know how to do and showing them how to do it, right? Leading by example. And that is, getting into the tactics, the little tips and tricks, like the mnemonic devices, right? Writing on the whiteboard, why this works, why we ask these questions, explaining it to people, getting them to ask questions, getting them to practice it with you, giving them feedback, avoiding what I call lazy feedback. So never allow anyone to say, hey, great job today, guys. That's lazy. Yeah, great job, but why? Hey, Mike, you did a really good job today. The reason I think you did a good job is because you talked to those 5 candidates and I heard those calls. And I know that you could have ended those calls early, but you stuck around and you asked for a referral. And I know you got those 2 referrals that you're really excited about. So that's a great work today. So you want to be explicit and specific in giving feedback when you're training. And then when you are really good at training, you can start to manage. And managing is more, the nuances of how do you manage towards performance? How do you give people feedback about their performance? How do you do what we would call the criticism sandwich, right? Which is a compliment. Hey, Gavin, that was a really good call because you were very loud and energetic and excited. And you could tell that transmuted through the phone to that person. They were really engaged with you. However, I noticed that you didn't ask these really important questions that we need to ask for these reasons. So I want you to make sure you do that next time. But I'm confident that you're going to be able to get that done because you always follow great direction and I know that you're going to nail the next one. So go get them. Right. So you kind of make people, I think, especially young people, it can be hard to take that kind of criticism directly if you're just like, hey, that call sucked and here's why. So you want to, make it, you want them to be open to receiving feedback and you want them to view feedback as a gift. And in order for them to receive feedback as a gift, you have to wrap it in a bow sometimes. Right. And that's something you
100%.
learn, I think, when you're managing people. And then finally, like when you can train and you can manage, now you can start to lead. And leadership is more esoteric and sort of, maybe philosophical in a sense, right? To become a great leader, you have to show people the way, right? You have to be in the front of the brigade, if you will, right? And leading the troops to victory. You have to clear a path for them. You have to remove obstacles. You have to inspire them, about why this is important. You have to keep them on mission. You have to define the mission. You have to define reality for them. And that's an important piece of leadership, which is this is what's happening. And this is why this is, our reality and why this is, works in our favor in this way, or this is why this is going to be a challenge that we have to overcome. Because there's so much information, especially in modern day and with AI and everything is moving so quickly that I think a great leader needs to define reality for their team. What is happening? How does it affect us? And what are we going to do about it? And that is not something that I think is always so black and white. And learning what to say and what not to say when you are responsible for 50 or 60 people is really important. And it can be something that I think, for me, I mean, I was in my 20s, when I started managing, and I had a large team with, 3 or 4 layers of management when I was in my early 30s. So it was quite a trial by fire. But I think the relationships that you hold with people and the interest that you take in them and the ability to just like listen and hear them out and just get to know them. Don't sleep on that, right? Don't forget that at the end of the day, everything there will be probably in the digital world in the age of AI. If everything is immediately replicable, every piece of content, every piece of software, every video, every image is sort of could be, AI generated. Like we're kind of what is old is new again. We're back to human relationships being the primary, if not only, defensible moat in a business. And I think people who, spend the time practicing how to be great at building and maintaining relationships with people, whether that's customers or team members or colleagues or staff or friends, are going to win in this era.